Coming up tonight on Newswatch, Illinois State Police reach a breakthrough with a decades-old cold case. We'll tell you who was involved and what steps authorities are taking later tonight.
Also coming up, athletes compete at Eastern Illinois University, the decades-long tradition that drew them. Coming up, Scott.
In California, they sometimes have what is called June gloom weather, and they would call this month's Illinois weather so far May gray. So welcome to Newswatch, the California West Coast edition. Your Friday show is coming up next.
Charleston House proudly supports Newswatch. Now welcoming guests on Charleston's historic 6th Street. The Charleston House Bed and Breakfast Inn offers refined accommodations in a beautifully restored bed and breakfast. For booking information, visit craigcollection.com or call the number on screen.
TCI Realty, Charleston area's real estate connection, commercial, land and farm, and residential real estate. Experienced realtors with an up-to-date website at tcirealty.net. TCI Realty supports the students of WEIU Newswatch.
Illinois State Police have made an arrest in a 42-year-old homicide cold case. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Austin Perez.
And I'm Olivia Bennett. Authorities say 76-year-old George Bradfield of Owensboro, Kentucky faces 5 counts of murder for the death of Lisa Ann Carnes. Carnes' body was found in rural Massac County in deep southern Illinois on March 30th, 1984. Authorities say she died from a single gunshot wound to the chest and also suffered blunt force trauma to the head. Carnes was just 26. Bradfield has pleaded not guilty and is in custody pending a detention hearing scheduled for May 6th. State police are asking anyone with information in the case to contact authorities. We also have an update tonight in the case of a man charged with killing a Terre Haute police officer nearly 5 years ago. Shane Meehan is accused of shooting and killing Officer Greg Ferenczi, who also served on an FBI task force. Earlier this year, we told you the federal judge in the case had refused to allow prosecutors to begin seeking the death penalty after taking it off the table earlier. Records show the federal prosecutors who initially filed notice to appeal that decision have now withdrawn that appeal.
A Terre Haute man will spend the next half a century behind bars for sex crimes against children. Our partner station WTHI reports 25-year-old Ethan Rubinacci pleaded guilty to 2 counts of child molestation as well as sexual misconduct with a minor and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Witnesses told police they saw Rubinacci giving children marijuana and alcohol. Authorities say the victims were between 8 and 17 years old. 11 other counts were dismissed as part of the plea deal that sentenced Rubinacci to 50 years in jail. He was arrested back in February of 2024. Meanwhile, Springfield police are seeking the public's help in a hit and run involving a pedestrian. Authorities say the crash occurred the evening of Saturday, April 25th, just before 9:30 near the Scooters Cafe or Coffee at the intersection of Wabash and Corbin Street. Police say after hitting the pedestrian, the vehicle did not stop and drove off. They encourage anyone with information to contact the Springfield Police Department. In Danville, multiple people are arrested in a drug enforcement operation. The FBI says on Wednesday, local and federal law enforcement worked together to dismantle what they call violent criminal networks in the area. During the operation, officers seized firearms and drugs, including marijuana, meth, and cocaine. They also made several arrests. They say the operation was supported in part by the Justice Department's Project Safe Neighborhoods initiative.
Good evening, and in weather, you're looking at a live satellite picture currently animated, and in front of the low pressure line, we can see some sporadic moisture, some rainfall sneaking in front of that line, and that's going to be happening off and on at various times in the next couple of days. This morning, a chilly morning, in part rain affected in some areas, otherwise cloud affected. We had low temperatures of 43 here in Charleston, Decatur, and Taylorville. That's about 7 degrees below normal on the low for this time of year. Our current conditions are approaching daily highs for the day, 59 in the south in Robinson, 57 in Terre Haute, and also in Taylorville. And currently here in Charleston, 55 degrees, and we do have reflection of the cloud cover in that our humidity is about halfway there, 50%. We've got much more weather to come. We'll have your full forecast in approximately 5 minutes, so stay tuned.
Scott, in another note tonight, Illinois state authorities are in heated debate over a court decision made by a judge. The conversation surrounding the Safety Act is intensifying once again after the deadly shooting of John Bartholomew, a Chicago police officer. The case has sparked renewed political finger-pointing as details emerge that Alfonso Talley, the suspected gunman, had previously been released before trial. Governor J.B. Pritzker is defending the law, emphasizing that judges still have the authority to detain individuals considered a threat to public safety. But Republican leaders argue the system is flawed, blaming the state's no-cash bail policy for allowing a dangerous suspect back into the community. The Safety Act, which eliminated cash bail in Illinois, has remained controversial since its rollout, now facing heightened scrutiny as calls grow for accountability in the wake of the officer's death. State leaders are also drawing attention to the role of foster families. The Illinois Department of Children and Family Services recognizes May as Foster Parent Appreciation Month. The agency says it's a time to celebrate and recognize those who've opened their hearts, homes, and lives to children in need. As of this year, there are over 6,000 licensed foster families who have welcomed foster children into their homes. Illinois DCFS Director Heidi Mueller says parents' commitment helps create brighter futures for children, but also shows how any child can thrive in a family. The Decatur Fire Department is celebrating a milestone in fire safety. The department is being recognized after installing more than 1,000 smoke alarms across the city. Local and state fire officials gathered at the Decatur Fire Department, highlighting a life-saving effort that's already protecting hundreds of families. Through the statewide Be Alarmed program, crews have installed alarms in more than 600 homes, reaching over 1,000 residents. The program offers free installation for eligible homeowners, aiming to ensure that every household has early warning protection when it matters the most.
Fire damages a home in Champaign Thursday morning. The Champaign Fire Department says heavy smoke and fire were visible from a single-family home in the 70th block of Garwood Street when they arrived on scene at 11:30. Firefighters deployed multiple hose lines and were able to contain the fire to the home and keep it from spreading to nearby buildings. Authorities say the cause of the fire is unknown and remains under investigation. They say the occupant was not at home at the time of the fire and no injuries were reported. Major work begins in Champaign interchange ramps Monday. The Illinois Department of Transportation says the on-ramp to southbound I-57 from Olympian Drive in Champaign will close for about 2 weeks starting May 4th. During that time, workers will connect the new ramps to the interstate. IDOT says it's part of the final phase for the $250 million project. They say workers will connect the other ramps in the coming months, and most of construction should be complete by the end of the year. Until then, authorities say drivers should expect delays, detours, and lane shifts. The Illinois Sheriff's Association has announced the winner of its annual scholarship awards. Several local college students were selected, including Noah Hardwick in Coles County, Ella Schweigart in Douglas County, and Chloe Brown in Cumberland County. Applicants had to submit a written essay outlining how law enforcement positively impacted their lives. Scholarships range between $500 to $1,000. The ISA awarded 117 scholarships this year, with the total award amount topping $58,000.
Locally grown products are taking the spotlight in Springfield. The Illinois Department of Agriculture is celebrating the kickoff of the Illinois Product Farmers Market with a family-friendly event on Thursday, May 7th at the Shed in Illinois State Fairgrounds. The event runs from 3:30 to 7 p.m. and features raffles, live music, and kids' activities. The IDOA says the farmers market will be held most Thursdays through September 24th. A complete schedule can be found online at the IllinoisProductFarmersMarket.com. Special Olympics Illinois hosted its annual Region 1 Spring Games today at Eastern Illinois University. From 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., the event was held at the O'Brien Field, where athletes competed in track and field games. The Spring Games provide a platform for athletes to compete and showcase their skills. In addition to the athletes, more than 300 volunteers turned out to help make sure the events ran smoothly and encourage the athletes to finish their events strong. Carson Hughes knows how impactful these games are for the athletes.
It's so fulfilling. to see, kids and, adults who've had these challenges, to be out and just experiencing life, having fun. It's a really rewarding experience.
This was the 45th year EIU has hosted the Special Olympics. Eastern previously hosted another Special Olympic event in March, the Glow Polar Plunge. Well, you know what, Austin, those athletes definitely had some nice weather today for the competition.
And of course, and I thought it was absolutely gorgeous outside. Scott Elia is back to let us know if we can expect more dry days this weekend.
Not completely dry. What we have, and we're going to show you this coast to coast, a moisture layer out west, dropping temperatures. Same thing happening in the east. Gulf Coast, the same. We're right in the middle. We've got our own moisture layer. We'll talk about that next.
Oh my God, California! Run! Run, go!
A pair of California surfers have a whale of a tale and the video to back it up after they say a curious shark chased one of them for over a mile. Tavis Boise and his friend Ron Takeda were hydrofoil surfing off the California coast when Boise says they glided over a shark, apparently sparking its curiosity because it began closely following Takeda and didn't stop, Boise says, for more than a mile. Boise watched as the shark, which he says was roughly 10 to 11 feet long, tailed his buddy before eventually losing interest. Boise said Takeda performed amazingly in the tense situation and also said sharks are cool animals, which, if treated respectfully, will leave you alone. But if you glide right over them, they may become curious. Curiosities have been piqued in the San Francisco Bay Area by a big fat sea lion gone viral for his big fat booty. Hey, sorry buddy, but it's true. Still rude. This is Chonkers, an enormous 2,000-pound Steller sea lion that, according to KGO, earned his nickname after showing up and showing out on San Fran's famous Pier 39, dwarfing his blubbery sunbathing brethren. But harbor officials say Chonkers is no Bay Area newbie.
He's been coming and going for the last 15 years, and this is the longest we've ever seen him stay.
And look, there's no body shaming here. The Steller species is significantly larger than typical California sea lions, so looky-loos are understandably going bonkers for Chonkers, flocking to marvel at the majestic mass of this lovable, dock-rockin', blubber-luggin' Bay Area chubby bubba. It's mostly water weight, so there. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Good evening and welcome back to weather. We're showing you right now our own little reoccurring moisture layer, just like out west or on any coast it seems today. We have this reoccurring moisture. Some of you are starting to feel some raindrops. This is occasional and very scattered, but it's been happening repeatedly. This morning, for example, it happened after midnight, and we had measurable precipitation in Effingham, here in Charleston, and also in Terre Haute, and we're about to have more, perhaps before the end of this day. We had a chilly morning, perhaps rain affected in some areas or affected by cloud cover. Whatever it was, we had a chilly morning. Normally, this time of year, 50 would be the average low. We had low temperatures at 43 here in Charleston, also in Decatur and in Taylorville. That's 7 degrees below average. Overnight tonight, it's going to get chilly once again, 42 or so for the overnight low. Clouds with occasional light showers. Our winds will be calming down, winds from the north at about 5 miles an hour. That's what I call light. Here's Futurecast tonight. This may or may not happen. It could be Virga, where it's raining way up above and never quite materializes down below. But this is occasional, scattered, and this will be happening after midnight into the early morning hours as you see more to the south. And so we arrive tomorrow at Saturday. Your daytime forecast, it's still going to be May gray for the most part. Our daytime highs near 56 degrees, well below average, and we start out with occasional rain and our temperature bumping up but only into the 40s, and then by noon we're not at 50 quite yet, and slowly we get into the late afternoon high temperatures in the mid 50s. That's on the second day of May. and this is also somewhat affected by the jet stream, the cold upper air coming down from the Canadian landmass, and look what it does for us Saturday. It's right here, and then it finally moves off a little bit on Sunday. So here's what we have to look at comparatively from Saturday. We have also northwest winds, cold temperatures, and then Sunday, when again that picture overhead changes, we have southwestern winds but gusts. We've seen plenty of wind last month and more this month, up to 30 miles an hour or so. 66 though for the high on Sunday, and then on Monday we will get into the 70s with southwest winds being predominant, but our temperatures, with one exception, will stay below average for this time of year. Here's a look at Sunday. We were projecting earlier the possibility of some scattered rainfall, but what is happening is probably we're not going to see that. We have the fuel there, but it's just not looking like it's going to materialize. The picture has changed. Here's our 7-day outlook. Average extremes, a high near 74, lows near 51. That's what I averaged for Tuesday, right in the middle. But look at Tuesday. It's the only day where we can almost guarantee, and you can never guarantee any kind of weather, but almost certain, probably, let's say, possibility of a thunderstorm, rainfall, and that follows our warm day of weather on Monday. So it looks like more May gray is on the way. And look at that picture that we have at Eastern Illinois University. We, I hate to tell you this, are probably looking at this until mid-May.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry.
Well, last year seemed like the summer came a lot earlier, and we were just starting to see that at the beginning, the beginning and halfway through April. Now It's just like back to cold.
It's true. I don't have to tell you guys how I feel about cold weather. I don't have to tell anybody how I feel about that.
I feel the same way.
Well, thank you, Scott. Rivalry. It's rivalry time between the Apollo Conference. Who wins between Charleston and Mattoon?
We'll see, but later on, Chicago is back in action against another West Coast team. How will they do? Thanks for watching. Your WEIU Sports Watch report is coming up next.
It wasn't until late August that Carrie Nasta says she finally found out she has endometriosis. Nasta says she had painful periods, extreme inflammation, and was always uncomfortable during her menstrual cycle, but she thought that was all normal. At New York Gynecology Surgery and Endometriosis, Nasta says she not only had surgery to help with symptoms, but was also put on GLP-1 medications. Right now, various GLP-1 drugs are FDA approved for diabetes control, weight management, and to reduce risk of cardiovascular events, but the drugs can reduce chronic inflammation throughout the body. Nasta's doctors say GLP-1 medications can also reverse progesterone resistance. That's when the uterine lining doesn't properly respond to the hormone and often leads to hormonal treatment failure in their patients. Nasta is hoping GLP-1s will also help her metabolic health, which she hopes will allow her to one day start a family. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
It's an action-filled weekend on the campus of EIU, and the fun has already begun. The Panthers softball team is currently in action against Tennessee State, and they have the chance to clinch at least a share of the OVC regular season title. Excuse me for the errors. 2 wins this weekend would give the Panthers their 3rd straight OVC regular season title. Eastern also holds a 9-game winning streak with their last loss on April 11th. EIU's back in action right now against the Tigers, and at last check, EIU is up 5-2. Following tonight's matchup, the Panthers will close out the regular season tomorrow with a doubleheader at 1 and 3:30. And for the Panthers baseball squad, they arguably have their biggest test of the year beginning in just a few minutes. Currently, there is a 4-way tie for first place in the Ohio Valley Conference between EIU, SEMO, SIUE, and Little Rock. The Panthers are coming off a 12-4 win against Bradley this past Wednesday, and as you can see on our tower cam, the Panthers are preparing for their game tonight when Eastern squares off against SEMO. First pitch is in a little bit at 6 from Frost Field. Game 2 is tomorrow at 5, and the final game Sunday at 1. In high school baseball, a local rivalry game took place last night. Charleston took on Mattoon in the newest edition of the Coles County Clash. The Trojans took a 1-0 lead to the first, but the Green Wave would bounce back with 5 unanswered runs to win it 5-1 and split the series. Up next for Charleston is a home game versus Neoga that just not long ago got underway at 4:30. Shifting from high school to Mattoon, the Lakers play a doubleheader at Kaskaskia on Thursday. The offense erupted and the Lakeland scored 26 runs in total, winning 11-3 in Game 1 and 15-4 in Game 2. The Lakers are back in action today, looking to complete the sweep at home against Kaskaskia, and that game just got underway at 3. The Chicubbies took a few losses, but good teams don't go down for long. Can they take a San Diego series win? How does hosting Arizona sound? Pretty good, says Michael Bush, as he knocks a roller in the left, and we're going to the home plate. Cubs knock in 2 runs to start. However, no lead is safe in baseball, especially as of late. Ildemaro Vargas gets it just past Matt Shaw, and the D-backs got some fight in them. In the 4th, all right, we're going to see this next play. I really want you to emphasize on this play. Hold on. Uh-oh, Gabriel Moreno can't close in on that pitch, and another run bites the dust. 5-1 Cubbies. We stay in the inning as Alex Bregman snaps to the left field. Can Gurriel make the catch? Oh, just not enough. Close but no cigar. And that caps the scoring for Chicago. They hold on to win 6-5. It's 3 in a row for the Cubs, and the same teams will bump heads tomorrow at 1:20. We'll move on to the soccer pitch, where some local girls teams were in action yesterday. Starting with Mattoon, the Green Wave did not go easy on Taylorville, as a ridiculous first half saw Mattoon put 9 goals in the back of the net. When was the last time you saw that? As for the Trojans, a road test against Mount Zion saw CHS fall hard. A 4-goal second half by the Braves spelled out victory for Mount Zion, as they now sit at 4-2 in the conference play, good for second in the Apollo. It's been quite a spring for Illinois basketball, as some players are doing good in the playoffs even after their champagne days. The Minnesota Timberwolves closed out their opening round bout with Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets with a 110-98 Game 6 victory. In Game 4, Ayo Dosunmu went on a tear, notching 43 points in the T-Wolves' Game 4 win. And last night, TSJ stepped up when Dosunmu was ruled out with an injury and put up 24 points. Minnesota will get started in the Western Conference semifinals against San Antonio on Monday. Finally tonight, Adidas recently announced its special World Cup pet jersey pack. These special jerseys made by the Three Stripes will allow your 4-legged friend to join in on the soccer summer fun. We're still a few weeks away from that. Doesn't it feel like that, Olivia?
It definitely does, Austin, but it sounds like conditions might be changing here soon. Scott Ely returns with a final look at our Skywatch forecast in just a moment. But first, we'll tell you how one Texas couple changed a furry friend's life for the better. That's tonight's parting story. Thanks for watching. This is Newswatch on WEIU.
Olivia Rodrigo shouldn't be bored for long. The Grammy-winning singer-songwriter has announced a 65-date concert tour launching September 25th in Hartford, Connecticut, and spanning North America and Europe. The Unraveled tour is in support of her 3rd studio album, You Seem Pretty Sad for a Girl So in Love. Concert tickets go on sale May 7th, and the album drops June 12th. CEO Jennifer Lopez and lawyer Brett Goldstein risk it all in Office Romance. Can this workplace relationship flourish, especially when both people are workaholics? Netflix just released the first trailer for the rom-com, which debuts on the streamer June 5th. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Finally tonight, a police officer and his wife turn a horrible ordeal for one canine into a very happy ending. So take a look at this. Meet Olivia. Oh, she's my mini-me. On March 29th, officers in Texas responded to an animal abuse case. Olivia had been shot with a pellet gun, and authorities say the men involved claimed they were trying to euthanize her. She survived but lost an eye. While recovering at the shelter, Sherman police officer Kyle Gray and his wife Hannah took notice. Not long after, Olivia joined the family. The Grays say she likes to chase cows, check on chickens, and play outside. Well, you know what? It must be something about the name, because I like to do all those things too, Olivia. Well, today was definitely a good day to play outside, but how about the weekend, Scott? What are we thinking?
Well, let's just skip over Saturday really quick and go right to Sunday, and then on Monday, and we see a pattern there. It is going to get a little bit warmer, but then it looks like we probably have a good chance for some rain and or thunderstorms coming up on Tuesday, and you do see those temperatures well below normal. That will probably continue through mid-month, I'm sorry to say.
Well, by the looks of it, I'm most definitely looking forward to Monday, because 75 degrees doesn't sound too shabby.
You know what? That's true. Monday is enough for me, Scott. But thank you so much for your forecast tonight. Thank you, and thank you so much for joining us. For more news and weather, be sure to log on to our website at WEIU.net.
There, you'll find real-time forecasts and the news video of the day. And if news is happening in your community, let us know by dropping us an email at news@WEIU.net.
Have a great night.
House proudly supports Newswatch. Now welcoming guests on Charleston's historic 6th Street. The Charleston House Bed and Breakfast Inn offers refined accommodations in a beautifully restored bed and breakfast. For booking information, visit craigcollection.com or call the number on screen.
TCI Realty, Charleston area's real estate connection. Commercial, land and farm, and residential real estate. Experienced realtors with an up-to-date website at tcirealty.net. TCI Realty supports the students of WEIU Newswatch.